Hey Star Trek fans, Dan Gunther here. Well, this is the week. This week the world finally gets its look at Star Trek Picard. This highly anticipated series has made a lot of us YouTubers look back on the life of Jean-Luc Picard as seen in Star Trek The Next Generation and the TNG films. Each of us has picked a particular moment in Picard's life that has meant something special to us, and in that vein I wanted to present this video to you all about my favorite scene in the film Star Trek First Contact. The Borg have overrun the Enterprise, and humanity's future is in doubt as the Borg are attempting to disrupt the first warp flight of Zefram Cochrane, which will usher in a new era for humanity, making contact with their neighbors, the Vulcans. In the midst of all of this, Captain Jean-Luc Picard faces the very real possibility of losing the Enterprise to the Borg, a situation that he cannot countenance. In this very moving scene, a citizen of the 21st century, Lily Sloan, confronts Captain Picard in the observation lounge of the Enterprise E. She believes the best bet is to destroy the Enterprise, taking the Borg with them, but Picard refuses to give the Borg an inch.
This is not about revenge.
Liar!
This is about saving the future of humanity!
Jean-Luc, blow up the damn ship!
No! No!
We see here how his past experience with the Borg has informed his psyche at this time, causing him to lose a little bit of perspective in his duty as a Starfleet officer. Now, a lot of you might be curious as to why I chose this moment. There are so many pivotal moments from Picard's career in TNG where he's giving impassioned speeches and really holding it together as a paragon of virtue and the perfect example of what a good Starfleet officer should be. However, in this scene, we see that facade begin to crack. We see inside the man that has been tortured and permanently damaged by the Borg. I guess to me this scene shows that underneath all of the veneer of the perfect Starfleet officer that we've seen, Jean-Luc Picard is, after all, still human. It also shows us a bit of a crack in the Roddenberry ideal of the perfect 24th century human being. Lily says as much when confronting Picard, saying that he's not the first person she's seen to get a thrill out of killing someone, an idea that shocks Picard and makes him realize how far the Borg have pushed him from what humanity has become in the 24th century.
How dare you?
Oh, come on, Captain. You're not the first man to get a thrill from murdering someone. I see it all the time.
Get out!
Or what? You'll kill me? Like you killed Ensign Lynch?
This really underscores the threat that the Borg pose, not just a physical threat, but an existential threat to the very ideals of humanity at this time. If someone as virtuous and as principled as Jean-Luc Picard can be pushed to this point, what hope is there for the rest of humanity? On a technical level, this scene is incredible, and the amount of work put in by the performers and the director and the writer all come together in an amazing scene. The scene is superbly directed by Jonathan Frakes, who apparently spent weeks with Patrick Stewart and Alfred Woodard blocking, preparing, and rehearsing this scene. And it does show. This is one of the first times in my life as a young Star Trek fan that the people around me who weren't necessarily diehard Star Trek fans like me recognized that Star Trek could be something greater. If the culture of the Oscars were different at the time, I absolutely believe that this scene is Oscar worthy on the part of both Patrick Stewart and Alfred Woodard. Some people have brought up a criticism of this scene, saying that it should not have been Lily who provides this come to Jesus moment for Picard, but a more familiar character like Crusher or Worf or Riker. But I see things quite differently. I think Lily was really the only character who could have brought this to Picard in the way that she does. Picard is the commanding officer of the other characters available for this role, and for many years Picard has been that perfect symbol of leadership to them. So, there might be a little bit of dissent, a little bit of questioning of orders, but in the end they would follow his orders no matter what they are. Lily is the one who is able to get up in his face and call it as it is.
In my century, we don't succumb to revenge. We have a more evolved sensibility.
Bullshit!
I think this scene, more than any other in any of the Star Trek The Next Generation films, encapsulates what it means to be human and what the stakes are for Jean-Luc Picard. We've never seen him come unglued to this extent, and the fact that Lily is able to confront him with his biases toward the Borg and make him realize what he is sacrificing, it really is an incredible and pivotal moment in the film.
They invade our space, and we fall back. They assimilate entire worlds, and we fall back. Not again. The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther. And I will make them pay for what they've done.
We've seen up until this point Picard getting increasingly more irrational towards the Borg, and it takes this 21st century imperfect human to kind of splash cold water in his face and make him realize what it means to be a human of the 21st century and what it means to be a captain who's looking out for his crew and the future of humanity. The movie Picard is, of course, very different from the series Picard. We see him become more of an action hero as the movies progress, but it's this scene that kind of brings him back, even just for a moment, to the Picard we knew and loved from the television series. And when I think of moments that really define him as a character, this scene pops into my head and really helps me to recognize not just the leader that Picard is, but the human that Picard is. Don't get me wrong, I love his big flowery speeches. I love his pontificating about rights of individuals and the importance of the truth. But when it comes down to it, Jean-Luc Picard is just a human, flawed like the rest of us. And sometimes it takes the people around us who care about us, who maybe haven't even known us for a very long time, but who have come to care about us, to bring us back to reality and make us realize what is truly important. Our friends, our family, and not the vendetta that Picard carries. He is able to let that go and move on and make the best decision for him, his crew, and the future of humanity. Well, what do you think of that particular scene in Star Trek First Contact? I think I've pretty much made it clear that it's one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Trek. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts. And check out the playlist in the description below. This is not the only video in this so-called Captain Picard Day. A number of other YouTubers have created videos to celebrate the launch of Star Trek Picard and the life of the Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Those links can be found in the description below in the playlist there. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to the Patreon supporters for their help in bringing these videos to you. I can't do it without you. I promise there are more videos coming. My life is getting a little bit more under control and I have a little bit more time to myself. So until the next one, live long and prosper. Happy Captain Picard Day, and let's all enjoy Star Trek Picard together.